Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and we're now into the off-season after Season 2, and we start this off with a contract extension from Athletic Director Tom Royce. He loved what he's seen, the improvement that we made from year 1 to year 2, and we will sign a 5-year extension with the Whitetails. So it looks like our offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator's jobs are safe. But Coach Brett Favre does get an extension from Marquette. I'm pretty surprised. After a 3-9 season, they gave him a 4-year extension, but they're expecting an 8-win season. So we have our first graduates of this series, Jacob Lester, who was the starter at free safety in Season 1, and then Angel Fabian, who will be missed at receiver. Our security blanket the last couple years, he is going to be missed truly. So we do have some good news. 3 transfers. First, Justin Pollard from Central Michigan. He's a tight end. I'm not really sure why he transferred. He's decent overall, at least. Doesn't really do something too well. He is actually a good impact blocker, so this could be a pretty good blocker on our offensive line as that kind of second tight end with 2 tight end sets out there, maybe 22 personnel. Looking at left guard, we got a good freshman transfer left guard. Run blocking is really good. Joey Moss coming over from Middle Tennessee State. And then a right tackle from Wisconsin. Wow. So Dante Nichols, he comes over. He's a good pass blocker. I was really impressed by our right tackle this season, but this guy looks like he can be a monster. If we actually can redshirt this guy, I believe. So our recruiting board is pretty slim going into the offseason. Richard Lewis, who we highlighted in the highlights a couple of videos ago, good tackler, needs to improve pursuit, but we never know. I mean, this guy can end up being way higher than 65 overall. Remember, we only unlock 50% of the ratings for each player, just so we're either surprised or we are disappointed by prospects, and you don't really know how good people are until they step on campus, so we only do it that way. Now, I'm taking a risk here. I'm not putting a lot of points on Richard Lewis, even though we're in a tight race, so I do have a chance of losing him, but it's mainly because I need to add depth at receiver now, and I need to recruit somebody, and Brett Hill is there. He's a JUCO junior, so he will only have 2 years of eligibility, but I think he's 1 letter grade away. Look at that catching. It's at a D. If it's in the C's, this guy's a pretty good receiver coming out of junior college as a 2-star. And I just want to see what I can get out of him. Maybe he'll replace that Angel Fabian role. And I like his ratings right now. And we'll see if he actually ends up being a surprise. Mike Quinn is the last guy. I had to choose between a cornerback and Mike Quinn. I could go after both here, but I don't want to risk losing a decent offensive lineman and adding depth there just in case somebody doesn't work out. So the risk did not pay off for Mike Quinn. 45-point difference. He goes to Iowa. That sucks. But we do get some good news. We do get Richard Lewis, who comes in at 65 overall. I don't know if that's actually the true overall, but that's what we had him recruited at. And then Brett Hill, the JUCO junior, ends up committing as well. So we actually end up with a lower rated recruiting class. You can see Tulane is at 113 and we are at 119, but you can see we are actually now a 3-star school. I'm not sure how we went up 2 prestige in 1 season, but we did. Have you guys ever seen that? We were 1 star going into Season 2, and now we're at 3 stars. I'm not sure how that happened, but let me know if that actually happened to you guys. I've never seen that ever in this game, but look at that, 3 stars now. So 2 position changes to note. Jacoby Beck does move over from receiver to running back, and he does just stay at 59 overall, so no change there. But then Doug Johnson does come over, and he's a 62 overall receiver, which is actually a better overall than what he was as a safety. And just looking at his skills, which he will improve, we'll just look at that after training. I also want to highlight that Brett Hill, when we signed him just now, he goes up to 64 overall, which is the highest on the team right now before training. I'm thinking that he might actually be a starter, and I think it'll be between him and maybe Anthony Swanson and Rodney Ross. I think those three are going to compete for kind of that third receiver spot, because I think I'm going to redshirt Francis Smith, and then I will have, Doug Johnson there and Yarbrough as the two starters, and then that third spot will be up for grabs. I also want to highlight that Richard Lewis comes in at 67 overall. That's what happens when you have 50% scouting. You don't really know, then you get surprised. Here's a surprise. Richard Lewis, 67. That's pretty good. He's got 91 acceleration. He's going to get after the ball for sure. I can't wait to play with this guy. After training, Adam Miller does go up just a little bit, I'd say. He went up 5 overall, which is actually really, really good. But I feel like he didn't improve much as a passer. +1 in throw power, +3 in accuracy. But who did go up? Nathan Beaver. Remember, we did recruit him in season 1. He goes up 6 overall. He goes up in pretty much everything. And just looking at him across the board, he is the highest throw power on the team. He has 83, 57 accuracy, which will have to improve, but the athleticism cannot be denied. He will get on the field this year. I don't know how I'm going to use him, but he will be a gadget. Jacoby Beck improves a little bit, +3 in carrying. Jabari Blaze goes up +4 in carrying. And Humphreys, he's kind of the afterthought now, and especially with all the running backs we have, it's a crowded backfield. And looking at Beck, he's up to 91 speed. So I think now the top 3 receivers are the top 4 at least, are kind of solidified on our roster. Maybe top 5. I can't forget about Rodney Ross. But looking at the other guys, Doug Johnson has improved a little bit. He went up +3 and everything. Yarbrough goes up just minimally, which I'm pretty surprised at. But Anthony Swanson is impressive. He went up +4 in catching, up to 71, +4 in catching traffic, and +4 in route running to 74. Really, really impressive here. Rodney Ross actually goes up quite a bit too, +5 in catching and catching traffic. But, I do want to highlight Bryce Alexander. He is kind of the afterthought here, but he has a couple of years to develop. He's only 78 speed. I'm disappointed that his speed didn't go up, but just keep an eye on him. The transfer goes up +4 overall at tight end. But look at Chris Coretta and Oliver. They knew he was transferring, and look at them. They go up +6. I mean, they were just grinding together in the offseason. Oliver goes up to +2 in route running, up to 80, 74 catching. Coretta goes up as well. I definitely want to get both of these guys involved a lot next season. Offensive line goes up consistently with Antoine Franklin getting the biggest boost. He goes up to +4 run blocking. And Derek Impito goes up the most at defensive end. I think he's my guy to watch this season. I think he's going to make a huge stride hopping into year 2. His hit power is at 80. His finesse and power moves aren't the greatest, but his block shed is at 73, which is decent, and his pursuit is at 79, so he can get after the ball. Shaq Royal goes up +5, and I definitely want to see an improvement by him. He goes up to +4 hit power, 76, +2 in tackling. I wish he would have went up more there, and his play recognition is still at only 56. Marvin Woods, our leading tackler, and last year he does go up only +1 in tackling. I was hoping he would go up more there. His pursuit went up +2. I wish it was higher, but his block shed does go up +4 to 81. Then with the influx of corners that we have now, I think Elgin Lloyd, since he's 5'9", 165, will move to that nickel slot. He's actually a decent tackler. I don't know what his ratings are, but in the game, he actually does tackle well. He's actually our best tackler right now at 57 tackling. And then just looking at the rest of everybody else's ratings, it's pretty much clumped together with Quintarius Jones and Elgin Lloyd being the best. So notable conference relegations. Rutgers did finish in the bottom 2 in the Big Ten, so they get demoted back to the American, down to the American, and then both Big Ten teams who got promoted got demoted last year get promoted back to the Big Ten in Northwestern and Minnesota. So Vanderbilt gets demoted from the SEC this year, and surprisingly, Appalachian State held their own. They actually finished second in their division in the SEC, so good work by them. They got promoted, and they're keeping their spot. So now we hop into fall practice, and this is right before the start of Season 3, getting a good look at our team. Here's Doug Johnson back at wide receiver, and he gets in practice. That's a touchdown for the junior. And you know what? I'm excited for him to move back to the offense because we do need another dynamic added. Because remember, in Season 2, we struggled in the beginning to pretty much get pressure off of Marlon Yarbrough. He was kind of the only one doing things. But then we kind of found a little bit of light with Jacoby Beck. We moved him over to running back, and it pretty much helped. It helped a lot. And that you saw the first catch by Brett Hill in practice. He's going to be impressive. He's going to be on the outside, sometimes in the slot. You can see right there Tucker Okonkwo was covering, and he does make the catch. But I really like what I see from this offense. We can line up in any type of formation, even with 2 backs in the backfield now, 1 back. I think that our receiving core is going to be really, really good this year. I think Doug Johnson adds a new dimension to the offense as well as speed. And you know what? Yarbrough, he's back with that big catch. But I do want to highlight the running game. Our offensive line looks 10 times better. And Jacoby Beck looks ready to be a full-time running back. He's added about 5 to 10 pounds, not too much weight, but he's added a little bit of weight, so it will help him break tackles. You can see he's bouncing off of some tackles that would have brought him down last season, but now he's in that full running back mode, and he is ready to be the starter. And I just really like this tandem at running back with him and Jabari Blaze. I also like the potential of Adam Murphy, a power back. And I also like the potential of a future trio with Bam Cameron. But I do want to highlight this play right here. Look at Franklin at guard. Straight pancakes Marvin Woods. He pretty much touches 3 guys on that play, and he makes a big difference on the offensive line this year. And I'm really looking forward to it. But later on in practice, an incident does happen. Adam Miller takes a big hit from Tucker Okonkwo and Derek M. Pinto on this play. Just take another look. Actually, that's Ryan Robinson at defensive tackle, not even in Pinto. We got to get used to Ryan Robinson on the line. But look at Okonkwo. He hits him hard, goes down a little bit, and Adam Miller has to get taken out of practice. So then we get to look at our backup quarterbacks here. There's pretty much a battle for backup, starting with the redshirt freshman Nathan Beaver. He's a dual threat. He's our first true dual threat, and he can run the ball. Remember, he played both sides of the ball in high school, so he's used to being in that physical style of offense and running that triple option. He did it all in high school, so he had a year to kind of sit back and learn the offense, and I think he's looking good. He's got a really strong arm. That's what sets him apart. He's like Trayvon Davis was with the big, strong arm. He doesn't have quite the accuracy that Davis had, but, man, his arm is powerful. He has the strongest arm. He probably has a stronger arm than Davis did, but some throws are just way off. You can just see on some of these throws, he just does not have the accuracy that Adam Miller has and even other quarterbacks on our roster. Here's a throw out to the right side by Doug Johnson. Look how quick that one got out of his hands, but then he misses throws. And that's the only thing that worries me about playing him. But I think he's going to get in a little bit this year, and I want to see him in some wildcat packages, whatever I can do to get him on the field. So then we look at the 3rd string quarterback here, and maybe even the 2nd string. Who knows? Bo Bridges is an interesting guy. He's been on the roster. He's been fighting for backup every single season. 6'5". And that's what sets him apart as well. He's 6'5". He's towering over that offensive line. Nathan Beaver is only 6 foot. So, Bo Bridges, well, he's going to need to work a little bit harder to kind of work on his other things rather than just accuracy. That's all he can rely on. And I think that, you know, what is going to make him a little better is if he just hits the weight room just a little bit. I mean, really, Nathan Beaver is the strong guy in that quarterback room. He's the big guy. He's the workout warrior, and he did so in his redshirt freshman year. I mean, he was just working out every single day. But Bridges really has to just show out and show his anticipatory throws, his anticipation, and really his accuracy. So I did want to look at Bryant Simmons, but we are going to redshirt him, and he is a decent freshman and a decent quarterback. But later on, we have to visit the training room because we get some news.
I have some bad news for you. In practice, Adam Miller took a pretty nasty hit, and it looks like he's going to be out for some time with a fracture in his foot. The x-rays show that he could possibly return in 8 to 10 weeks, but that's being really aggressive. Depending on how his foot responds to physical therapy, he could be back as soon as the 8-week timetable, but I'm not so sure that it's reality. Adam's in good spirits, but he's going to need some time to heal, so he won't be able to resume team activities until he's medically cleared by team trainers. I do have a bit more bad news to report. To add to Miller's injury, Tucker Okonkwo also suffered a broken wrist on the same play. I'd say it's best to keep him out 4 to 6 weeks to be on the safe side. His injury isn't as serious as Adam's, but it will keep him out for a little bit. He should be able to return back to football activities in a couple of weeks.
So we will be missing our leader for pretty much all of the season, and that sucks because now we have to rely on Nathan Beaver, who has yet to take a snap, Bryant Simmons, the redshirt quarterback who may have to play this year, you never know, and then Bo Bridges, 6'5", 232. None of them have any collegiate experience at quarterback, so we're going to need to rely on somebody, and maybe the running game will have to relieve some pressure off of these quarterbacks as Jacoby Beck, Jabari Blaze, and now because of this injury, I'm going to have to keep Adam Murphy unredshirted. I was originally going to redshirt him, but I'm going to need 3 backs to kind of help out with this quarterback core, and I think that, keeping Adam Murphy is definitely going to help, and who knows who's going to stay healthy, so we're going to have to see how this offense is going to look. So now that Tucker Okonkwo will also miss a couple of games, we're going to have to rely on a couple of young linebackers, starting with Blake Childress. I was originally going to redshirt him, but I'm going to have to play him. He's a decent tackler. He's got good block shedding, decent pursuit. I think the thing that's going to set him apart is his strength in finesse moves. I'm going to send him on blitzes. He doesn't have elite speed, but good speed for a linebacker at 80. And that strength and finesse moves is going to have to play a part in his playing time. He's going to play a lot on third downs. Then the redshirt freshman Derek Sowell. He's not as fast, not as mobile, but I think that he's maybe more all-around linebacker than the other linebacker next to him, Blake Childress. And I think that, Patrick McGee, with his experience, he did kind of fall off last year, but he's going to have to be the veteran here in this linebacking core. McGee's probably going to start at right outside linebacker in place of Tucker Okonkwo, and then Childress and Sowell will have to rotate in. Now, this year's schedule will look like this. We will not play Wisconsin for the first time here in this dynasty. We will take a break from them, but in their place, we play number 20 Baylor to open up the season on the road. It's going to be a tough game on the road, but we're going to have to get tested right away with a new quarterback. Then we go to San Jose State this season, and we play for the second straight year to finish out that 2-year contract we have with them. Then our first home game is not easy. Number 13, Nebraska. And this team is going to be really, really good this year. They're going to contend for a national championship. They're that good. Then we start conference play, UCF on the road. Then we play Rutgers, who, remember, they got demoted into our conference this season. And remember, the way we get promoted is by finishing in the top 2. So we would have to make it to the conference championship. We do play Marquette week 10. We get to meet up with Howard Vinson, and we'll see if he ends up touching the field. And then we finish the season at Tulane. So we go on the road to face a lot of our former guys. So that's going to do it here in this episode. Let me know what you guys think of this team. I really like this squad. I mean, just looking at our depth chart as we go to it, our defensive line is going to be dangerous. This is their second year. Remember, we had pretty much all freshmen on this defensive line. Now Derek Impinto is going to take over as the full-time left end. And in pass rushing situations, Ebiselli will move over to end, and then Pinto will move over to defensive tackle. Not nose tackle, but defensive tackle. Shaq Royal will return for his second year starting. Remember, in Season 1 and Season 2, actually, he was our top recruit coming in. He had 4 sacks last year. I will look for him to kind of build off of that. And then Brad Robinson. I said Ryan Robinson before. I meant Brad Robinson. He will be the starter at defensive tackle right now, at nose tackle, along with Justin Jameson, who had a good year last year. Those guys will both be on the field, and they will play significant amount of time switching in and out with each other. So that's going to do it here in this episode. Let me know what you guys think of this team. Hit subscribe, hit that like button, stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.